So as I was telling you a little bit about Julie, most importantly, you guys, she is just such a beautiful person. She has the hugest heart. She cares about people. She never lets anybody, she never lets anyone go without telling them how much she cares about them and sharing Juice Plus because she feels it's that important. And she makes you feel important. She always makes me feel important just by spending time with me. So, Julie, you're just such a gift. She's been a gift for our entire company. As you know, she's won Elton Awards. She's a founder. She's won a Founders Award. She's 100 Club plus, plus, plus. But all of that doesn't matter. You just take one look at Julie, and her smile and her joy just, draws you in. So, Julie, I'm thrilled that you're here, that you can just share with us your story and, really just some tips and how we can share Juice Plus and love people and grow a team and all the things that we had talked about. So thank you for being here.
Oh, well, Kirsten, thank you. Thank you so much. You just mean the world to me, you and Bill. And this journey, taking this together, has meant the world to me over these 21 years, almost 22. I can't believe it's been that long. And you guys all mean so much to me on this team. I know some of you might be brand new, so I'll just tell a quick version of my story. So 21 years ago, my older sister, I have two sisters and a brother, she found out about Juice Plus, and I was at her house one day, and it was her excitement that got my attention. It was her story, and our stories are so important. We talk about that all the time, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But it was her excitement about Juice Plus that caught my attention. And at the time, I didn't really think I needed Juice Plus because I thought I was healthy enough. I was a school teacher, but at night and on the weekend, after school and on the weekend, I was a fitness instructor and personal trainer. I did that for a long time. And I really thought of myself as very healthy. But the only person I was thinking about while she was telling me about Juice Plus was my husband, Joel. He had become a high school principal and his health was really going downhill. Joel gained 100 pounds very quickly in a stressful job, and I was worried about him. So I bought Juice Plus for him. And it took me a while, but it was the education about Juice Plus that made me want to take it, and I love how we're inspiring healthy living around the world. Our information, people know fruits and vegetables are good for them, but they don't know why. And they don't know how many they should be eating every day. So we have a gift to share just with our information. And so I started taking it, and I'm one of these people that thought I was healthy, but I was tired every day at 3 o'clock. I wanted to take a nap. I wasn't sleeping like a rock at night. My hair was falling out. I was getting chronic sinus infections. I had low back pain. I had a horrible menstrual cycle, and I could go on and on. And when I started taking Juice Plus, I couldn't believe the difference after the first few months. I just couldn't help but share it with everybody. I knew there was a difference in my health. And so I got a call one day that said, Julie, you've got to join the mission of this company, and I said, no, I can't sell anything. I would be terrible at that. And she said, but you're not selling, you're telling everybody from your heart, and you could really pay for your Juice Plus. And those were the magic words that I needed to hear. So remember that, don't ever hold that back. And I said, how do I do that? Because I'm a sale girl. I said, okay, I shop on the sale rack. I said, I want to get the best price. Can you go over that with me? So I really did sign up just to get the best price and to maybe share with a handful of people. And I had a super busy life. I didn't realize that Juice Plus can run alongside a busy life. We all know that. And so I said yes, and I got started pretty slowly. But I had my first baby. And when she was about 6 months old, I just wanted to stay home with her. And I told Joel, I'll do anything, I just want to be home with her. And we were having this conversation about staying home with her. And I was being invited at the same time to an event, my first big event with Wendy Campbell. She was here in Florida. And I said no to going to the event over and over and over. But my sponsor was lovingly persistent with me. And I love that phrase because she wasn't pushy. She was very patient with me, but she kept inviting me. And it's a funny story. I actually didn't end up going to the event. She brought the speaker to my house. She brought Wendy to my house because I could have thrown a rock and hit the place where it was happening. And I didn't go. So she said, can I bring Wendy? And so anyway, in my own living room, I listened to Wendy Campbell share about Juice Plus. And if you don't know who she is, we're part of her team. She's a nurse in our company. And that night, listening to her, I really caught the vision for this business and I got a whole different perspective. She really helped pull me out of a scared of selling mindset. And she talked about being mission driven. And, when I think about what happened that night, I think about Jay Martin's vision. His vision is that Julie Herbst can realize her dream of staying home with her kids. That was my why. That was my vision. That's what our president and founder wants for each of us to examine is what do we want, and we need to dream. And some of us are going to dream really big very easily. And some of us are going to have to work at that and figure out what it is. But I remember sitting there that night thinking, I bet I could make my car payment, which would make my husband happy, and I could stay home with my daughter. And that was my vision at that moment. The other thing that she talked about was the inspiring healthy living aspect. That's what we get to do every day. And I don't look at what we do as selling Juice Plus. I look at it as helping people get healthier, being part of this community, bridging the gap, learning about fruits and vegetables. In fact, I used to end my presentations when I did them at home, our in-home wellness presentations, all the time by saying, if you came tonight and you just learned about why you need more fruits and vegetables and you leave just doing that, I'm so happy you were here. But I also know that it would be a gift for you to add Juice Plus. And that's what Wendy called it that night. She called it a gift. And that resonated with me. And I thought, this really is a gift. My sister gave me a gift, and I need to start sharing this like a gift. And if people don't want to unwrap that gift, that's okay. I need to share it with people in a gift kind of way. And that really, I love that. The next morning I woke up, and in 2 years, I had reached the highest level in the company. And I told my husband, Joel, we're going to get insurance for our family. And he was amazed that we were going to get it through the Juice Plus company. And he came to the Juice Plus conference with me. And on our ride on the airplane on our way home, he was so impressed with what he saw that weekend that he decided to become a team member with me. And he said, let's do what you just did again. So we did. We started over again. And I do want to back up and tell you one of the most hilarious parts about the night where Wendy Campbell was at our house, because my husband was there and he was kind of observing everything that was going on in the room. And here I was listening to her, catching this amazing vision. But Joel overheard her tell someone her monthly income, which was what his beginning teachers were making in a year. Wendy was making in a month. That's all Joel heard. So after everybody left our house that night, I said, I'm going to do this business and I'm going to stay home with Hannah. He said, yes, you are. So that's kind of how we started. And I just really, as quickly as I can, want to share some nuggets with you. First of all, are the success ingredients, because I believe that these are things that not only you can embrace for yourself, but you really want to see these success ingredients with the team that you grow. And the first one is that you have to know why. My why was to stay home with my daughter, and I would have done anything. In fact, I did very uncomfortable things to stay home with her and build that paycheck. So you have to know why. And some of you know what your why is right now, but some of you don't know why you're going to build this business. And I want you to really leave this Zoom tonight trying to figure out what that is. Okay. And for some of you, it might just be a small thing. Maybe it's something like making a car payment. That's okay. You are a blessing whether you want to accomplish something small like that or big. To me, that was huge, making my car payment. Some of you hate what you're doing right now. You don't want to work in the job you're working in anymore. Or maybe your spouse hates their job. That's a big why. So it doesn't matter if your why is big or little, you got to get your reason down why you're going to choose to do this business every day. The second ingredient list is that you have to care more about people than you do yourselves. The third one is to be teachable. And I became teachable that next morning after I heard Wendy. I was not teachable before that. So I know what it's like to do this business without being teachable. And I know what it's like to be teachable. It's so much easier to be teachable. Okay, so you have to be teachable. and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Oh my goodness, let that go. You just got, it doesn't have to look perfect. You can make a mess, just get things done. Okay. And I'll get to that in a second. And the last one is to be willing to work. And there, that was also a huge difference after I heard Wendy. All of a sudden now I was ready to treat this like a job. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop making excuses why I can't do this, and I'm going to actually do it. And the other thing that I really had to work on, and my sponsor helped me with this, was my belief. And we have several beliefs, you know, belief in yourself, our company, our products, and also our industry of network marketing too. And you've got to get your belief nice and strong. If you've got a weak part of that chain, you've got to figure out how to strengthen that belief, because belief is the secret sauce. And part of what will grow your belief is just getting out there and making a mess and start talking to people. And that's what I did, you guys. And you know what? Strengthen my belief from just doing that is starting to have people say yes and embrace this. And getting through the no's was hard. Like even Kirsten's mom and Kirsten, they didn't say yes the first time. And I could have let that just wipe me out, take the wind out of my sails. And honestly, sometimes that did happen, but I just learned how to keep going. Why? Because I wanted to stay home with my daughter. That's why I did it. It wasn't that I was all gung ho business. No, it was that I would look at my daughter and say, I'm staying home with you. I'm not going to miss anything. I want to be home with you. And that was what I wanted to do. So belief is the secret sauce. And I love this phrase: you need to work harder on yourself than you do on your business. And that is a beautiful thing. You're going to grow so much from this. And I know that I'm a better mom, wife, daughter, sibling, you know, because I've grown myself in these years. Okay, so I want to encourage you with a couple of things that outside of figuring out your why tonight, and also, you know, examining the success ingredients in your belief, is I really want to encourage you to get good at your story. And this is going to take some time, because you're going to write your story out, but then you're going to tell it from your heart. And you want that story to come from your heart, and you want to tell it so much that it just becomes very simple for you to do over and over and over. And you're going to have different versions of your story. So you're going to have a quickie, like you're at the Whole Foods market, 15-second one. And then you're going to have a longer one where you share it to inspire people, you know, at events and things like that. But really, really work on that story. I read a book when I first started, and that was one of the things that said you have to get good at is your story. Okay. And I had my husband help me. He was my best critic, because I asked him to be. And I said, when you listen to me do the presentations and tell my story, I want you to critique me. And he did. Unfortunately, he did. He'd say, you know how you said that tonight? Don't say that again. No, he didn't say it like that. But he'd say, why don't you phrase it this way? So get somebody in your life, doesn't have to be your spouse, could be somebody else, to listen to your story and just get used to telling it. Okay. And then you want to do the same exact thing with your presentation, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys, but you've got to get comfortable with sharing about Juice Plus. Okay. And it doesn't have to happen right away. If you're brand new, you're going to be like, oh no, I can't do this. No, because we help you do that until you feel comfortable doing it. So nobody has to do that by themselves at the beginning, but getting good at that presentation to where you almost have it in your head, and you could really do it without the slides eventually. Okay. And so I do want to encourage you to do that too. And then really, this comes down, how are you going to achieve your dreams? This comes down to doing it every day. And we call that DMO, daily method of operation, daily method of opportunity, as we heard on our event on Saturday. Jennifer Saville say that. So getting that daily method of operation down every single day is the key. And I really needed a formula. That's what I was looking for when I first started. I'm like, tell me what that looks like every day, because I want to make sure that I'm working at my job. I don't, you know, when you go to a 9-to-5 job, you have a job description, you know what to do, you're expected to get this work done, and then you leave at 5 and go home. So what does our job description look like? And I was so excited one night, I listened to a conference call and I'm like, that's it. She just told me what I'm supposed to be doing every day. And it was called the 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. She said, make 2 calls, the very first ones you do, because these are the hardest, to new people, you're reaching out. The second set of 2 were following up. You're following up with people that you've already shared your story with. Now you're following up to see if they want to buy Juice Plus. Okay. And then the third set are your customers. You're going to call 2 customers and reach out and thank them or help them build their belief or maybe get started on a different product or whatever. So we do our customer care. And the last 2 were for team. So the 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Some days I would only get one done because I was a mom at home doing my life and my family's important. God's important. I've got other priorities too. So you don't, but every day I would really shoot to do the 2, 2, 2, 2. Sometimes it would be 3, 2, 2, 2, or 4, 2, 2, 2, or 10, 2, 2, 2. So adjust it. And I felt so good checking it off. I tried to always end on a good note every day. And I would encourage myself. I put a little picture of my family in front of me. I had positive sayings in front of me. I was like, come on, Julie, you can do it. I'm a fitness instructor, so I know how to encourage people to keep going. I would do that myself. I still do it myself. I'm like, come on, Julie. I actually just started working out with somebody this week and I couldn't even do one push-up, you guys. I've gotten out of shape and that's a long story. But I started getting tears in my eyes trying to do push-up. But I'm being honest with you. Because I've had a couple of tough years and I'll tell you that story some other time. But I'll tell you, I was cheering myself on in my head. I'm like, do it, Julie, go. And I just want you to give you permission to cheer yourself on. You are going to be your best cheerleader and just do it. You can do it. So DMO is really, really important. And I love this. Consistent activity, regardless of results, is how you build momentum in this. Okay, let me say that again. Consistent activity, regardless of results. Don't listen to the word no. Don't worry about that. Just let that roll off. Just keep going. And you may have some moments where, oh my goodness, somebody canceled and it was just devastating the first time I got a cancellation, or somebody didn't call me back, or I had a really excited team member and then they were just gone. I was like, what happened? It happens to all of us, you guys, and that's okay. You've got to learn to love people where they are and just keep coming back around to them. Okay, keep circling back around and loving them where they are, but don't give up on them. I always tried to keep my foot in the door. Why? Because I knew more than they did about how wonderful this was. And I would tell myself that. I'm like, it's okay. I'm not going to be aggressive with them, but I am going to keep circling around and trying again. And what did I use to do that? Events. Events were my excuse for everything. I'd say, oh, I'm just calling again because we're having this event or this pediatrician is speaking or whatever. And I was thinking about you. So I would just keep circling back around. And some of you might be like me where you're super nervous about what people think about you. And I still battle that. But I had to settle a couple of things in my mind to get over that. And the first one was, I would even say to people sometimes, I would never want you to hear about this and say, Julie, you knew about this and you didn't tell me. So I would actually say that to people a lot of times when I first started. So can I just tell you? Or I would even do that with the business too. In fact, I did that with Sarah Franklin. She was at my house one day and I said, I'm doing something that I really love. I have no idea if you could get excited about it, but could I tell you about it? Because I wouldn't want you to say, Julie, you're doing this and you didn't tell me. And she said, yes. So here we sat down and we signed her up a few minutes later. So that's just what you have to do. The other thing was if anybody ever said, Julie, are you trying to sell me something? I mean, that was my greatest fear. I had to have a comeback for it. So I came up with, oh my goodness, no, you don't have to get it from me. You can actually go to juiceplus.com and the company never keeps leads for themselves. This is the most wonderful company. So I would get that in there and I'd say, so they'll give you somebody else who lives in this area to take care of you. So you don't have to. I never had to say that, you guys, but I had it ready just so I could feel better. And that's okay. You've got to do what you've got to do. Okay. So also let me just say too, that you're going to have certain things that you have a hard time overcoming in this, and they're going to be different for all of us. Some of you are going to find it really easy to share your story. Some of you are going to be scared to death to do a presentation. Okay. And I have to tell you that I chickened out of my first one. So don't think that, oh, Julie is so good at presenting now. Well, I've had 21 years of practice. That's why. But at first, I was scared to death. So I had to grow into, I can do this. You know, nobody has to feel like they have to be a nutrition expert because we're not supposed to be. Okay. If you are a doctor or a medical person, great. That's great. But most of us are not. So we don't have that background. So that's okay. But my fear, my greatest fear was following up with people. I could share my story, but when it came time to pick the phone up and ask them for their credit card, I just said, I don't think I can do this business because I don't think I'm going to get over this one. And man, I picked that 100-pound phone up, shaking. And I actually had a script in front of me and I would read my script and it worked. It worked. I would read it. And if they asked me a question I didn't know, I'd say, oh, that's such a good question. Let me get the answer and I'll get back to you. And then I would go to my sponsor and ask her the question and come back. And guess what? Eventually I learned all the answers because everybody asks the same questions over and over. And I started to get positive responses and I worked through that fear. And I learned that following up with people is the key to this business because that is where lives change. People's lives change because you choose to follow up. And now I look back over 21 years at all of the health stories I have, and we could sit here literally and cry for hours, and I would tell you stories that would make you cry over and over. And I wouldn't give that up for the world, but I'm so glad that I went through that fear to get there. Okay. So you have to figure out what your fear is and just get over it, push through it. You can do it, cheer yourself on. It's going to be okay. And we're here to help you too. So, and then finally, I just want to say, set goals. Okay. Because goals are very important. You can't hit a target you can't see. So put goals up in front of you to accomplish. And I know Kirsten is so gifted with that. She's so good with that. One of the goals that I just want to give you to try to shoot for every single month, and this is like a business goal, is the 5-1. Okay. And let me tell you, this is exciting. You don't have to do that forever. Okay. You're going to build a foundation in this business, and it's going to be the hardest part of this. It's going to take years of consistency. And I want to be honest with you. It's not going to happen overnight. This is not a get rich quick. But if you deviate and all of a sudden you're trying to put fires out every day and, oh, there's a squirrel. Let me tell you, that's how I was at first. And my sponsor gave me a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he taught me how to stop doing that. He was like, you can either put fires out all day and get nothing done, or you can learn to do the important things and stop doing the urgent stuff that pops up. And I thought, I'm going to stop doing that urgent stuff and I'm going to do the important stuff. Unfortunately, the important stuff is the hardest. So you've got to choose to do the hard stuff first. Those 2 new calls, don't start with the 2 customers. That's easier. Do the 2 new ones first because you have, your time. So you're going to have to figure that out and set that goal up and just go for it. But you don't have to do that goal forever. You have to find 5 really strong people, and it's going to take a while to find those people or not. It might not. It depends on how many people you choose to talk to. If you want to talk to a lot of people, you're going to find those 5 faster. That was me. That's why I got to National Marketing Director so quickly, is because I chose to just talk and talk and talk and talk. And my husband observed this in me. He's like, you're like a dog on a bone, Julie, not aggressive in that way. You just don't give up on people. It's like you play hard to get and start walking away and they come after you. He's like, you've got this down. Go, baby. I mean, he was just like, all right, you can do it. And he encouraged me too. So you got to get some cheerleaders around you that encourage me, because he really did encourage me, and he was like a buddy for me too. And then of course I built a team of buddies like Kirsten and Sharon. You're going to have people that begin to encourage you, and you can get there. You can. So I know that I could continue going on and on, Kier, but I know that we're out of time, and I know that I didn't leave any time for questions, but I wanted to give you guys as many nuggets as I could tonight so that you feel empowered to do this. You know, I can't motivate you to do it. Kirsten, Bill, we can't motivate you to do it. You can motivate yourself to do it though, because that's what I did. My sponsor used to say, if it is to be, it is up to me, Julie. And I would say, funny, jokingly with her, I'd say, no, if it is to be, it is up to Amy, because Amy's my sponsor. And so she'd say no, she'd laugh with me, and I'd say, I know, I can do it. I can do it. If it is to be, it's up to me. And you guys, you can do it. You can totally do this, and we're here for you. And I can't wait to cheer you on. So
Oh, Julie, thank you so much. Thank you for all of those wonderful nuggets. And I hope you guys were encouraged and that you just took something away, you know, just one or two or three little nuggets of like moving forward in this business. And Julie, you paved the way and you help us so well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know Donna's in the chat. Thank you. Hearts, hearts. And you guys, if there are any questions for Julie, please, she can come into our Voxer. I can ask her any questions. And if anyone has one that's burning before we go, jump in here. And otherwise we'll go to Voxer.
Found it.
Hi, Jeannie. All right, you guys, no questions. But why don't you unmute and please say thank you to Julie and say hi to Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Julie. We love you.
Julie.
oh,
Amazing.
welcome. So good to be with you. Happy New
Yes.
Year.
Thank you, Julie. It's good to see you.
You
Thanks.
guys have an awesome week. Remember, Dr. David Phillips is Thursday night, so definitely be inviting to him. For you guys down here in South Florida, I've got an event for you at my house in my backyard a week from Saturday. So I'll send out a flyer for all the South Florida team. And I hope you guys have an awesome night.
Yay.
Thank you.
Good team,
Thank
Billy.
you.
Good night, everybody.